You keep telling yourself she's busy, work is overwhelming, family drama, the stress of modern life. You've built an entire narrative around why she takes hours to respond. Why are your calls going unanswered? Why are your plans with her dissolving into maybe next week? But deep down, in that place you don't want to look, you know the truth. She's not busy, she just doesn't respect you. Machiavelli wrote that it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both, but there's something he understood that most men miss. Before either fear or love, there must be respect. Without respect, there is nothing. No attraction, no desire, no relationship is worth having. And brother, you lost her respect a long time ago. Let me show you something painful, something most men spend years avoiding. When a woman respects you, she makes time. Not eventually, not when it's convenient, immediately. The CEO who runs 3 companies finds 10 seconds to text the man she values. The woman working double shifts somehow never leaves him waiting. The woman buried under deadlines still lights up when his name appears. Because respect doesn't operate on a schedule, it operates on priority. And you're not the priority anymore. Maybe you never were. Here's what happened. Somewhere along the way, you became optional. Not suddenly. This didn't happen overnight. It was 1,000 small moments. Each time you tolerated disrespect and smiled through it. Every boundary you failed to enforce. All those times you chased when you should have walked away. You taught her that your time has no value. And she believed you. Machiavelli warned that the prince who makes himself despised invites his own destruction. You didn't make yourself despised. You made yourself something worse, irrelevant. Women don't respect what they can access whenever they want. They respect what they might lose, what doesn't bend, what stands unmoved by their tests and games and emotional weather patterns. You bent, you stayed. You made yourself available at all hours, rearranging your life around her whims while she scheduled you between yoga and brunch with friends. You became the man who's always there, which means you became the man who doesn't matter. Let me break down what's really happening when she doesn't have time for you. She's online, you can see it. The little green dot, the red receipts, the Instagram stories posted while your message sits ignored. She has time. She just doesn't have time for you because attraction lives in the space between communications, and you've eliminated that space entirely. You've become the man who texts good morning before she's awake and good night after she's asleep. The man who double texts, who asks if everything's okay when she goes silent for 3 hours. You've become her emotional support animal, not her man. And women don't desire what they don't respect. They can't. The biology won't allow it. Female attraction is rooted in the perception of male, status, strength, and scarcity. When you're always available, always accommodating, always bending yourself into whatever shape she needs that day, you signal low value. Not with your words, with your actions. Your availability screams, I have nothing better to do than wait for you. Your flexibility announces, I have no boundaries you need to respect. Your patience declares, you can treat me however you want. I'm not going anywhere. And she heard every word. This is the Machiavellian reality of power. Those who appear weak will be treated as such, not because people are cruel, but because human nature responds to strength. You appeared weak, so she treated you accordingly. Watch how she treats the things she actually values. Her career. She responds to work emails at midnight, takes calls during dinner, never leaves her boss waiting 6 hours for a reply. Her friends. When they text, she's there, making plans, staying connected, investing energy. Her social media. Posting, commenting, curating her image with the dedication of a part-time job. Everything that matters to her gets her attention immediately. You get breadcrumbs, sporadic responses, the leftover energy after she's given her best to everything else. This isn't about her being busy. This is about you not being important. And the hardest part? You've accepted it. You've normalized a level of disrespect that would make your younger self sick. The man you were 5 years ago would look at you now and not recognize the person staring back. When did you become so small? When did her minimal effort become enough? Here are the signs you've been ignoring. She used to text first. Now you're always the initiator, firing off messages into the void and waiting for whatever response she feels like giving. Plans are vague, nothing concrete. Everything's a maybe, we'll see. Let me check my schedule. Because commitment requires respect, and she doesn't have that for you anymore. She's hot and cold, engaged one day, distant the next. You're living in her emotional weather system, trying to predict the unpredictable, blaming yourself when the temperature drops. She talks about other men, casually mentions the guy from work, the friend who's been texting, the ex who reached out, testing your boundaries, measuring your reaction, seeing how much disrespect you'll tolerate. And you tolerate all of it because you're afraid that if you say something, set a boundary, demand better treatment, she'll leave. So you say nothing, you accept less, you shrink yourself to fit into whatever space she's willing to give you. But here's the truth, she's already gone. The woman who takes hours to respond isn't coming back with a better reply. She's hoping you'll get the message without her having to say it. The message is simple: you don't matter enough. This is where most men spiral. They try to win back respect through more attention, more messages, more availability, more proof of their devotion. It does the opposite. Chasing someone who's pulling away is like trying to hold water in your fists. The tighter you grip, the faster it drains away. Because neediness is the antithesis of attraction. Every time you reach out when she hasn't responded, you're not showing love. You're showing desperation. You're confirming her assessment. You're a man with no options, no self-respect, no life beyond her attention. And women are biologically programmed to recoil from that energy. Not because they're cruel, because their attraction mechanism is designed to seek strength, not need. They're drawn to men who exist powerfully independent of female validation. You've become the opposite. A man whose entire emotional state depends on her response time. Think about what that communicates. When she finally does respond and you light up like a slot machine, what are you teaching her? That you've been sitting there, waiting, hoping, your whole world revolving around whether she deigns to acknowledge you. That's not masculine energy. That's the energy of a servant waiting for scraps from the table, and she feels it in her bones. Here's what silence actually is. It's a test, not a conscious one. She's not sitting there thinking, let me see how he handles this. But female psychology is constantly assessing male strength. Every interaction is a data point. Every response you give either confirms or contradicts her assessment of your value. When she goes silent and you chase, you fail the test. When she pulls back and you flood her with attention, you fail the test. When she disrespects your time and you pretend not to notice, you fail every single test. Real masculine strength isn't about being cold. It's about being unmoved by emotional manipulation. It's about having such a solid center that her distance doesn't destabilize you. The man she's actually attracted to, he notices her silence and continues building his life. He doesn't spiral, doesn't analyze, doesn't send paragraph texts asking what's wrong. He simply moves forward because his life isn't on pause waiting for her. His purpose exists independent of her presence. His self-respect isn't negotiable based on her behavior. That's what creates respect. Not your words, not your declarations of feelings, your ability to value yourself when she doesn't. The Prince wasn't written about kingdoms, it was written about power. And you've handed all of yours away to someone who didn't even want it. Most men have this backwards. They think affection creates respect. It's the opposite. Respect creates affection. A woman can like you, even love you, and still not respect you. She can enjoy your company, appreciate your kindness, value your support, and simultaneously see you as weak. Because respect is earned through boundaries, not kindness. Through self-value, not self-sacrifice. Every time you accept less than you deserve, you destroy a piece of her respect. Every time you chase, you confirm she was right to pull away. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you guarantee more of it. This is the cycle you're trapped in. You give more, hoping to get back what you had. She respects you less because of what you're willing to accept. You give even more. She pulls further away, until one day you wake up and realize you've become a man you don't recognize. A man who begs for basic decency, who celebrates breadcrumbs, who's grateful when she responds at all. Your grandfather would be disgusted. Your ancestors will be rolling in their graves. Machiavelli understood that appearances matter more than reality in the eyes of the masses. But in relationships, your actions are the only reality that matters. And your actions have been screaming weakness for months. So what do? You stop completely. Not as a strategy, not as a manipulation tactic to get her attention. You stop because you respect yourself more than you need her validation. You stop texting first. Stop making plans she cancels. Stop being available whenever she remembers you exist. Stop tolerating behavior that violates your boundaries. You reclaim the energy you've been bleeding into a black hole and redirect it toward yourself, your purpose, your growth, your life. And here's what happens. One of two things. Either she notices your absence and comes back with real energy, real effort, real respect, in which case you've created the foundation for something actual, or she doesn't, and you learn the brutal truth that you've been fighting for someone who was never fighting for you. Both outcomes are better than where you are now, living in limbo, accepting scraps, pretending disrespect is love because you're afraid of being alone. Listen to me. Your value isn't determined by whether she responds. Your worth isn't measured by her attention. Your life doesn't begin and end with her validation. You're a man with purpose, with potential, with a path that exists with or without her. Start acting like it. The moment you stop needing her is the moment you become the man she might actually want, or doesn't. And both are fine. Because you've already won, you've reclaimed yourself. That's the only victory that matters. She's not ignoring you because she's busy. She's ignoring you because you let her, because you taught her she could, because you valued her more than you valued yourself. Machiavelli wrote that men should either be caressed or destroyed. You've done neither. You've made yourself available for casual disrespect, a middle ground where no power exists. Don't make that mistake again. Not with her, not with anyone. Your self-respect is not negotiable. Your time is not infinite. Your presence is not something to be tolerated, but something to be earned. Remember that. Or keep waiting for a text that's never coming from someone who stopped respecting you months ago. The choice has always been yours.